All right, let's dive right in. If you're gearing up for the AWS Solutions Architect Associate exam, you know designing resilient architectures is a massive piece of the puzzle. Honestly, it's where a lot of people get tripped up. So in this explainer, we're going to cut through all the noise and focus on exactly what you need to know to absolutely nail those tricky scenario questions. Let's get to it.
I love this quote from a Reddit user who went from being a plumber to a certified solutions architect, scoring a 960 by the way. It just perfectly captures the why behind all of this. See, it's not just about building stuff that works. It's about building stuff that can survive when things go wrong. That curiosity, that's the heart of a great architect. And AWS gives us all the tools we need to build on that curiosity.
So what is resilience, in official AWS terms? Well, it's a huge pillar of their well-architectured framework. It's all about recovery, adaptation, and mitigation. Think of it like your system's immune system. So for the exam, if you see a question about recovering from failure or handling a sudden spike in demand, your brain should immediately start screaming, resilience.
Okay, here's our game plan. We'll start with the why, then we'll get into the core tools you'll be using. After that, we'll see how they all fit together in some classic patterns, talk about that critical trade-off between resilience and cost, and then wrap up with some solid strategies for spotting and crushing these questions on exam day.
All right, let's open up the toolkit. These are the foundational AWS services that you absolutely, positively must know inside and out. For the exam, just think of these as your primary building blocks for any fault-tolerant solution you're asked to design.
First up is the Elastic Load Balancer, or ELB. Its main job is super simple, but absolutely vital. It's a traffic cop. Instead of sending all your users to a single server, which is just a massive single point of failure waiting to happen, the ELB spreads that load across multiple servers.
And here's the key part for your exam. The ELB gives you resilience by spreading traffic across multiple physical data centers, what AWS calls availability zones. It's always running health checks, and if a server goes down, the ELB automatically, instantly stops sending traffic to it. That right there, automatic recovery, is a huge theme on this exam.
Next up is the ELB's best friend, the Auto Scaling Group, or ASG. An ASG's job is to make sure you always have the perfect number of healthy servers running. You get a huge spike in traffic, it adds more. An instance fails a health check, it gets rid of it and launches a brand new one to take its place.
So, the crucial point here is that ASGs provide that self-healing superpower to your architecture. On the exam, when you see phrases like automatically replace unhealthy instances or scale to meet demand, your answer is almost certainly going to involve an auto-scaling group working hand-in-hand with an elastic load balancer.
Okay, but what about your database? That's often the most critical single point of failure in any system. Well, the primary solution for relational databases is Amazon RDS Multi-AZ. AWS literally creates a live, up-to-the-second copy of your entire database in a completely separate availability zone.
This is a massive exam topic, so really lean in for this one. The key word for multi-AZ that you need to burn into your brain is automatic. If the main database fails, RDS handles the entire failover for you. You don't have to lift a finger. And the best part? Your application's connection string doesn't even change. Now remember, multi-AZ is for high availability. It is not for scaling read traffic. That's what read replicas are for, and we'll see how the exam loves to try and trick you with that later on.
Let's talk about storing data, and specifically, Amazon S3. S3 is just designed from the ground up for insane levels of durability and availability. It automatically stores your data across multiple devices and multiple facilities. It's really the bedrock of so many resilient architectures on AWS.
For the exam, there are two S3 features that are just paramount for resilience. First is versioning. Think of this as your ultimate undo button. If someone accidentally deletes a critical file, no sweat, you just restore the previous version. Then you have cross-region replication. This is for your big, scary, large-scale disaster recovery. If an entire AWS region has a major problem, you have a complete copy of your data ready to go somewhere else.
Okay, so we've looked at the individual Lego pieces. Now for the fun part. Let's see how they snap together to form a classic, exam-ready architecture. This is where you really connect the dots and see how these services work together as a team to create a truly bulletproof system. And this right here illustrates the whole pattern beautifully. A user's request comes in. It hits a load balancer, which then spreads it across a fleet of servers in an auto-scaling group
that are themselves spread across multiple data centers. And those servers then talk to a database that also has a live standby in another data center. See what's happening? There is no single point of failure in this entire design. Any one component can fail, and the system just keeps on chugging.
Okay, this is one of the most important concepts for the exam, so listen up. AWS can build you an absolutely indestructible fortress, but it's going to cost you. The exam will constantly test your ability to find the sweet spot, the most cost-effective solution that still meets the requirements. This means you're often looking for the good enough solution, not always the perfect one.
This table is a perfect example. For a critical, customer-facing production database, you need multi-AZ. End of story. The failover is automatic and takes seconds. But what if the scenario says some downtime is acceptable and the main priority is cost? Well, then promoting a read replica manually might just be the correct answer. It's cheaper, but it requires you to step in, and it's going to mean more downtime. You have to read the question for clues about cost and downtime tolerance. Now that we've covered the core concepts and patterns, let's talk about how to actually apply this knowledge on exam day. You have the knowledge now, so let's build the strategy to use it when you're under pressure.
So, how do you even know you're looking at a resilience question in the first place? Well, it's all about the keywords. The exam questions are practically designed to give you clues and lead you to the right domain.
If you see any of these phrases, a light bulb should just go off in your head. High availability, fault tolerance, eliminate single points of failure. These are direct signals, like neon signs, telling you that you need to be thinking about the services and patterns we just discussed. Automatic recovery specifically points you right towards services like ASG and RDS Multi-AZ. And this is a classic point of confusion. Multi-AZ is about high availability within one geographic area, protecting you against something like a single data center losing power. Multi-region, on the other hand, is a much larger-scale disaster recovery strategy. It protects you against a catastrophic event like a hurricane that impacts an entire region. Just remember the difference in scale.
Sometimes the exam tests you on specific numbers you just have to have memorized. For example, 14 days. What is that? It's the maximum message retention period for Amazon SQS, which is a key service for decoupling your applications and making them more resilient. Memorizing a few key limits just like this can honestly be the difference between a pass and a fail.
So if you remember just one thing from this entire explainer, let it be this. The whole philosophy of resilient design on AWS isn't about preventing failure. It's about assuming failure will happen and then building a system that can gracefully handle it without anybody even noticing.
And that is the final thought I really want to leave you with as you keep studying. Shift your mindset. Don't just plan for the sunny day scenario when everything works perfectly. Ask yourself, what happens when this fails? And design for that. Because that's the mindset of a true solutions architect. Good luck on your exam.